If you want to build lower body strength while keeping your joints healthy, you need to be incorporating sled drags into your workouts. I love sled drags because almost anyone can do them safely and effectively. Whether we're talking Gen Pop clients who want to move and feel better, or elite athletes that are trying to push the envelope of their performance, virtually everyone I coach will sled drag at some point in their program. Now, without boring you to death, there are 3 reasons I love sled drags. Number 1, there's no eccentric or lowering phase, so it minimizes soreness. Number 2, it's not super technical, like a squat or a deadlift. You can literally load a sled up and start dragging on day 1. And number 3, they're incredibly joint friendly. Even people that suffer from knee, back, or hip issues can often drag a sled completely pain-free. So today, we're gonna cover 3 primary variations: forward, backward, and lateral, but then give you several variations of each so you can pick and choose which ones you like the best. Now, before we dive in here, if you're liking the content here at the channel, please make sure to like this video and subscribe so you know each and every week when a new video drops. Now, let's get in the gym and start dragging these sleds. So to begin, we're gonna start with our backwards sled drag variations. And I love these because they get you a real nice stretch in a lot of cases on the back side of the body. They allow that space to open up, which is gonna allow you to shift your center of gravity back, something that a lot of my Gen Pop clients and my athletes alike deal with or struggle with. So in this case, we are gonna do a Zerker sled drag first. You can see I've got this kind of V-shaped handle from Spud Inc. I'm gonna take the attachment, put it in the crook of my elbows, let this weight kind of traction and open up my upper back. Got soft knees, and then all I'm gonna do here is nice and slow. I'm gonna feel my whole foot and I'm gonna step back. The whole time, feel your whole foot and push while you're thinking about letting the weight open your upper back and give you a nice stretch. For most of these, I like 10 to 15 reps each side. Our second backward sled drag variation is using a TRX handle. So in this case, it's gonna look almost identical to our Zerker. What you're gonna do, sit down into it. You've got the handles, thinking about the whole arm being long, getting that stretch through your upper back. And then again, you're taking these short, choppy steps. Feel your whole foot, feel your leg load, and then we're pushing to step backwards. Next in our backward sled drag variations is a belt-loaded backward sled drag. Now, the first 2 options are great if you're focused on creating some space through the upper back, maybe shifting your center of gravity back. I really like this for loading my hips and being able to overload my quads. So if I'm trying to get some strength out of this activity, I think this is a great way to do that. So in this case, I've just got a little cinch belt. I am going to take a couple steps back, take the slack out. Again, nice solid base with my feet. And then when I'm doing this, I like to reach across my body. I'm trying to step straight back, feel my whole foot, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm loading my hips, loading my quads with each and every step that I take. Our fourth and final backward sled drag variation is done with a What's That strap or 3D strap. Now, I love this variation. We all have an internal asymmetry that turns us from left to right. So when I use this strap, it allows me very easily to control that asymmetry and turns me back from right to left. So here's how you're gonna set it up. Take the strap, put it over your right shoulder, walk away from the sled so that when we turn around, it is by your left hip. Now, once you're here, you're gonna use your right foot as an anchor. You are gonna step backwards, find your whole left foot, and then you're gonna stand up. Right foot just levels out with the left, and again, we're gonna do that repeatedly. So stepping back with the left, pushing with the right, so we're really working to turn ourselves back from right to left. Next up, we have our lateral sled drag variation. So we're gonna start with a lateral sled drag, and this is called a step 2. Now, this is interesting because I didn't know they had all these different names, but Bill actually taught me this. So there's step 2s, step 3s. We are gonna start with a step 2. So to do this, I'm gonna start in a nice athletic position. If I'm going to my right, I'm pushing with my left leg. So I'm gonna get a nice athletic position. I'm gonna push, step 2, push, step 2, push, step 2, but I'm really working on loading this outside leg and working to push to get to my right. Step 2 lateral sled drags are great if I'm trying to teach somebody maybe just a good defensive position. I'm trying to build them some strength moving side to side. But if I want to recapture some mobility, then a step through may be a better option. So to perform a step through, you're going to set up almost identically to how you did before. Take the slack out, you're going to push, and when you step through, you can see my left leg is now in front. So now I'm going to push, step through again, come across, push, come across, push. So when I do the step through, it's really gonna unlock that internal rotation. It's gonna allow me to get a little bit more hip mobility involved. Our final lateral sled drag variation is with a handle. Now you've noticed I've switched sides. That's because in most cases, if I'm gonna do this, I like it on my right side and in my right hand because it's gonna allow me, when I reach away, to really get long through my right side. If you've got somebody that's kind of bent over to one side and you wanna lengthen them back out, use the weight, lean away, and you can create some length through this side. So I'm gonna allow things to get long, step over, and push. So now I can get really long with my right leg and create some separation through this outside of my body. Now let's move into our forward sled drag variations. In this first one, we have got our Zerker or spud strap handle back out, and I really like this forward sled drag variation without arms for my low force producers. Maybe if I've got some young kids that are trying to get faster in a straight line, but they don't produce force well, and or they have a tendency to over rotate when they run. So I'm gonna use both handles, grab them, I'm gonna face away from the sled, I'm gonna lean into it, and then what this does, it kind of anchors and tethers my entire thorax and torso together so I can't rotate. And then I'm just pushing straight ahead from there. Our second forward sled drag variation is done with a belt. Now, the first option is great if you want to lock the thorax in and minimize rotation. This one's a little bit better if you want to actually recapture some of that rotation, or you want to get the arms and the legs integrated together. So the big thing here is going to be how much weight you use. I've got a little bit heavier weight, so I'm going to use it as more of a march, but you can absolutely take some weight off and turn it into more of a run as well. So remember, when it comes to acceleration, we want to chase our shoulders. We need this angled posture, and we want to think about pushing down and back. So I'm going to set myself and I'm going to think push, 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 using the arms and the legs together to recapture some acceleration specific strength. Our final sled drag variation is done forward, but instead of using the long 3D strap, or what's that strap, you're using the short strap. And I don't even know what this is called. Evidently it's called a React strap, but it's made by the same people. And I love this strap for people that really struggle to push off one side of the body versus the other. So for example, if you have somebody that's turned left to right, they might really struggle to compress and squeeze out of their right. So if they come into a cut on their right side, maybe they can't push out of it, or they can't accelerate well off their right leg. So if you have somebody like that, that's where this strap comes in. You're gonna take the React strap, put it over your right shoulder, take the slack out, and then now you're just gonna drag that sled just like you normally would. But naturally, the strap is trying to pull you back to the right, so you have to squeeze even harder on that right side to turn yourself back to the left and accelerate and push more effectively. All right, friends, I hope I've convinced you to start incorporating sled drags into your program and shown you a variation or two that you like. And if you got any questions whatsoever, please drop it in the comments section below. And if you enjoy videos like this, where I give you variations of different exercises, be sure to check out my exercise variations playlist, where I give tons of options for your favorite lifts like squats, deads, and bench presses.